Cavendish has many accolades. It's one of the newest investment houses after it was created from the merger of FinCap and Cenkos Securities. It is now one of the largest nomads and financial advisors to AIM-listed companies, and it says it's the #1 broker on AIM. It's also been nominated as Broker of the Year by the UK's Small Cap Network. I'm delighted to be joined by the Chief Executive, Julian Morse. So Julian, paint me a picture of the small cap universe in the UK and what investment opportunities are to be had.
So small caps, in my view, are where most of the value creation occurs in the UK. They create most of the jobs as growing businesses, and obviously generate significant amount of revenues for the government through tax take, but also foster innovation, entrepreneurialism, and effectively give the economy a huge boost. And they're a very exciting place to live and work in.
So fostering innovation is what Cavendish aspires to do. So against that backdrop that you've just described, what does Cavendish provide to its clients in addition to fostering innovation?
So we're a full service investment bank. So we do everything sort of from the equity capital markets side. So look after companies as their brokers, help them raise money, produce research on all of our companies and others in the market, financial advice, but also go right across the spectrum to working with private companies. We have a very highly regarded M&A department and a debt advisory department as well.
So it's an unfair question, Julian, but which companies or types of industries are you representing or assisting in terms of advising and assisting and funding solutions?
So we are we're sector agnostic, although we're absolutely sector focused within our business because we have to totally understand our clients' needs. But we tend to attract growth companies by the nature of the business, and growth companies are normally looking for some sort of capital raising, or whether it's debt financing or private or public capital. So those are the ones that we tend to see most of, and unsurprisingly, they will be in the areas of tech, life sciences, media, but also more traditional industries like industrials and property.
So Cavendish, has an equity capital markets tech team, one of the largest on AIM. Now, the term tech is a broad church. So what are the emerging sectors? Off the top of my head, I'm thinking about space tech, AI, mining tech, and data collection.
Indeed, all of those, but also MediaTech is a very large area. FinTech, been a buzzword for a long time, but actually it is everywhere within our lives. But also on sort of medical devices and medical tech. There's a huge amount of technology involved in those areas, and most of these sectors are sort of totally intertwined now, because you can't have one without the other, and it's again the golden thread, I suppose, that's running through all of these is innovation.
So I'm going to ask you to name names. Can you name some of the companies within the tech sector that you've been helping?
Absolutely. So on the MedTech side, Creo Medical, they have developed a very interesting, basically a series of endoscopes that can treat cancer. So they literally ablate cancer. They remove cancers and previously unoperable cancers, all the way over to Traxis, for instance, which is producing software for mass transport systems, which is effectively keeping everybody safe, but also saving money for train operators, and other mass transport operators, and effectively, they are returning a huge amount of investment and dividends to their shareholders because they have well-beating technologies.
Now, if we're to believe the headlines, you'd think that there was this mass exodus, so many companies delisting and returning to their private roots. Now, you mentioned earlier that you assist a lot of private companies. Are these mainly pre-IPO, or they have absolutely no intention of listing?
Some will not have an intention to list, but actually others are not sure what they're looking for. So they are looking, well, they know what they're looking for in terms of looking for capital and advice. And we are incredibly fortunate that we can actually give exactly the right service to our clients. We're actually service agnostic because we provide all of them. So you have to actually give exactly what's right for that corporate, that company, to help them on their journey. So, but a number, we may do the sale for them, the private sale for them, and that may come back a couple of years later as part of a larger company for an IPO.
How tough is it to raise capital in these markets? I'm talking to you in May 2024.
So it's not easy, and in the sort of small cap arena as well, it has got harder, with global capital allocation has tended away from the UK, and then within that has tended away from small caps. But it's still absolutely possible if you have the right offering, and you have the right quality companies looking for capital. There will always be investors out there that we can source, and we are still, as a business, doing one deal a week for our corporate clients, which is a very high frequency, and that's partly a function of the fact that we have so many corporate clients, and we service them all individually, giving them all the best service that we can.
It would be churlish of me not to mention that a general election has to, by law, be called by January 2025. Until that happens, I feel as though we're in a state of limbo. And do you feel that valuations are being held back as we wait for that election to be called?
Not necessarily. I think, yes, investors like certainty. I do think most people have priced in a change of government, and so therefore, I don't think it's going to be a real big surprise that there will be a change of government, and also I don't think the business policies of either of the main parties are that different. Yes, there'll be difference in taxation and personal taxation, but actually for corporates, I don't think it would really alter the landscape particularly. And like your last question, in terms of how easy it is to raise money, for good companies, there will always be an appetite for people to invest. I mean, in the last general election, we IPO'd a company on the day of the election.
And how effective was that?
So it was a very successful IPO, and we raised all the money that we needed to. So that's it's just a testament of keep going and making sure that you get everything done to get everything away properly.
Okay, now listen, fly the flag for this city. Why is London the best place for companies to list, irrespective of which administration is in power?
Well, London still has huge pools of capital available to it, and available to all sizes of companies. So there does tend to be a gap in the private arena as you come towards the sort of size and the small cap that people would look at listing, and London has the AIM market, which takes care of that very, very well. And I mentioned earlier there has been capital allocation away from small caps. Uh, that's sort of mainly in the sort of pension and insurance funds. So the profile of the pools of capital that we're accessing has changed over the last few years, but new pools of capital have come into the market.
So Cavendish, as I said, was created by the merger of Cenkos and FinCap. I'm just wondering, it's less than a year that you've been a merged entity. How is the integration going?
So it's gone remarkably well, and I say that putting two people businesses together is never easy, and two businesses of very similar size. So it was a true merger, with all the meanings of that word. And I think it's very surprising looking back now. It does seem like it was a long time ago, but it actually was only September that we came together. And I think the secret of the success is that we did keep all of our client-facing people, and retained all of that talent. And that's the key thing in a service-based business, is to keep the people that can service your clients. And that has been borne out by the fact that since the merger, we have won far more clients than we have lost.
So keep the people and maintain the potential, because Cavendish is also a listed company. We can buy shares in Cavendish. How would you describe the company's own financial performance?
I think what we have created is a platform that can be profitable even in very tough markets. So that's the key. That's the key for our own performance, is that people internally have to be very well rewarded for what they do, but they only get rewarded if they actually are very good at what they do. So we attract good people, and I'm happy to say we do reward people well, but basically it's a results-based business, and so that generates a virtuous circle in terms of you attract the right people, they perform for the business, and therefore you generate the profits.
In addition to attracting really good people and keeping those close who've been with you along the journey, how does Cavendish intend to get bigger? Why is now a good time to invest in you?
But I think the critical mass that we have created by bringing the two largest brokers or name together means that we have a unique positioning in the market, and some other of our competitors have exited the smaller and mid cap area. So there's still a lot of white space to go after, while keeping the market that we currently service also moving up into that white space. So we are currently in expansion mode, in cautious expansion mode, but we are hiring, and again we've hired a number of people from our peers and competitors over the last few months, and they're all doing well now as part of the Cavendish family.
All sounds very promising, and good luck with the outcome of the Broker of the Year. Obviously, we won't find out till next month if you are a winner, but I think by virtue of the fact that you've been nominated, Cavendish is a winner. Julian Morse, Joint Chief Executive of Cavendish, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Sarah.